Okay, so gonna explain to you what we've got going so far. As far as maneuvering our radiator around. You know anything about a third gen or even a fourth gen Camaro or Trans Am? The radiators lean forward. So we've cut our bottom support out, and my plan is to drop it lower a few inches, enough to set my aftermarket radiator in there. And we've cut these ears out for the radiator to sit in. Of course, this side is where the cap goes. But I just now cut out a piece. I fitted everything in there, but it still leaned forward just a little bit. I mean, just a little. So what I did was, there's a piece, it goes, that metal kind of rolls all the way through there, but it's got an angle on it, so it wouldn't let the radiator to sit flush or further back or stand up straighter, as I should say. It may still have a little lean to it, but it might be a lot better by cutting that piece out. It's not something that you have to do, but I'm going to see how it turns out, and I'll let you know if I recommend you doing it, wasting your time or not. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning back in. I hope you guys enjoyed the most recent post of us getting a big block put in the car. I'm glad we got that done. Again, I apologize for not posting very much lately. I really haven't been able to do a whole lot. We've been I didn't really film or do anything of us building the motor because I was in and out with parts and we had some issues and stuff we were running into. And I was just trying to focus on that, and I really, the car wasn't even in here, so I didn't really have any content to film. So, but hopefully that's changed now. We've got everything back in here, and we can keep this thing rolling. I hope you guys don't think I just jumped off and left you guys and weren't going to do the channel anymore. Anyways, I'm not going to ramble too much about that. The main focus for today is the other night. Actually, whenever we were filming and did the big block later that evening, we decided to do a little bit more, and me and my cousin Sam, my brother Josh, we had talked about, how we can get the radiator to stand more straight up. I'd already kind of maneuvered some stuff around and got it to stand more straight up and made my own aluminum shroud and stuff, but I wanted it to be able to, come more up than what it already was. And we gained probably, I think when I measured it out, I think we gained like almost 2 to 3 inches of being able to stand it up more. And it tucks up underneath the front end pretty good. If you're trying to keep the factory style front end, then I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that I've learned through this process. And maybe you can use it if you're going tube chassis front end. Then, don't waste your time listening to me. But literally didn't spend any money buying any parts. There's no parts I've bought or ordered or anything I had just put up to do this mess. Obviously you got to have your materials, things to cut and weld and all that stuff. But yeah, it was kind of cut and dry. What we decided to do was to cut the bottom of the radiator support and just drop it down. And obviously that was really the only way you can do it, is just to drop the radiator support down, and then, go from there and see where you can, obviously put it back together. And you have to, obviously have to cut it off. You have to weld it back. I took some plates and everything, and it was just literally scrap metal that I had here. Like I said, I didn't go buy any metal or anything or use anything special. It's just, you're not even going to really see it. Unless you're underneath the front end of the car, then you might notice it or see it. But yeah, I'm gonna walk you through and try to show you what we did. And it's not done. I got to clean up some stuff, and obviously we're gonna paint it, and that way it don't rust or anything like that. But let's get to it. All right, so here's the radiator. I'll just go ahead and show it to you. That way you kind of got an idea. But you see what I'm talking about, where it's kind of raised up right there and then flat. Of course, the filler side down there. But nothing special, just an aftermarket 3-core radiator. So that being said, to cut that stuff out, that was for it to obviously come back more as well, because you have to think that this piece actually comes down through here. So we cut that out, and then cut this side out. But this bottom section is what we worked on the most. And all we did was we just cut a straight line all the way around on the actual support itself. Straight line there, cut through here and down there on both sides. Sorry, I'm trying to point and record at the same time. I'm not focusing good. That side and this side, and like I said, it's not really done, but I'm not really worried about cleaning it up too much because you're not going to see it. So what I did was I just took 2 sheet metal plates that I had. This thing will focus. And I cut it because there was a huge gap right here. So we dropped it down. I haven't measured it, but you can kind of see where that weld is and where that weld is. So this metal is overlapped just a touch, but that was a gap. So you have to obviously have something to support the bottom half when you put it back on. So I just took 2 pieces of sheet metal and welded them on there to hold the bottom support. Nothing different on this side. It's basically the same deal. I mean, if you don't have anybody here to help hold it, which I did not, if you see in the video, I had it sitting on a piece of wood, the radiator sitting on a piece of wood, that was on it, and then set the radiator in it and jacked it up and kind of mocked it up, measured it, lined everything up, just to try to get it as close as I can. And I did pretty good, because I measured from the radiator support to where this bar is, and it's 3 inches on both ends, which I know that bar is not, you know, probably the straightest guide, but I used it, and it's 3 inches, and you can tell it's pretty straight. And I leveled everything. I put a level on it just to try to make sure that it was where I wanted everything, and just tacked it and then finished her off. I will say, before I did that, you'll see in the video I cut a piece out that was in here. Try to get a good view of it. Try to get a good view the best I can. So right here is where I started cutting. Focus this thing. So right here is where I started cutting, and I cut the top and the bottom. And really, it's not flat. It angles up this direction, and that kept me from getting it up as tall as I wanted, or straight up as I wanted. And just by cutting that piece out, I gained probably another, I would say, 1/4 to 1/2 inch of standing it more straight up. So to me, that was worth it. I mean, it didn't take me too long to cut that out. To me, that was worth taking the time to cut it out. And actually, I'll be honest with you, the metal that I used, or that I cut this out with, the metal from that is what I used to actually build or cut and fab my pieces to weld this back on. So even if you don't have any sheet metal, if you cut that piece out that's on the bottom of this, you can use that metal to actually weld the thing back on there. So hand in hand, cut and dry, it was actually pretty simple. It was a pretty good gig. I'm actually proud of it. I'm gonna set the radiator in there. I'm gonna set the radiator in there and just tape it. I don't have a support made yet to hold it in, because I've already set it in there, and yes, it will lean forward and come right out. So anyways, let me go ahead and set that thing in there, and I'm just gonna use some tape to hold it so you can kind of see how it lines up. Alright, so I got it taped in there, got it set down in there. You can see, I mean, it sits in there really nice. You can obviously tell where we cut out to make room for that on both ends. I mean, I think it looks pretty decent. Like I said, I haven't built a support yet to hold that in there. I don't really know what to use. Actually, I know what to use, but I don't know how I want to do it. I've got 2 of these factory screw holes. I thought about just making like 2 little arms. Of course, you know, you can ride through that. There's actually 3 or 4. There's one that goes there, and there's one that goes there. I thought about just making like 4 little arms with 10mm bolts, just to hold like a little thin piece of sheet metal, just to hold it down. I thought that would be pretty neat if I could make 4 of those. Or just create a whole shroud. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like I said, this all has to be cleaned up. I'm going to paint it so it's not sticking out like a sore thumb. But you can see how, I mean, it's straight. It's straight up now. Before I done this thing was probably leaning out about, well, I can probably show you with my old shroud. Alright, so I had this shroud bolted to where those two bolt holes are. Just kind of line those up best I can. Alright, so you see how much I gained, because I built this shroud whenever it was still sitting in there leaning forward. So you can obviously see how much more room I gained just by what I did. And which also, something else to take in consideration is that bottom radiator support, it does not set flush. It is not straight from the factory. It has a tilt. So obviously whenever we went to weld it back, I brought it straight up. So you will notice that if you go to do this. It's fine. Use your plate or your sheet metal that you're using to weld it back. You put it straight up the way you want it, and that, I mean, you weld it and it's not going to make a difference at all. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. I'm pretty excited about it. That's just another little thing to check mark off the list that we're wanting to do with this thing. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just let me know, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can and answer any questions I can. Yeah, appreciate it, guys.